All set? Can you guys see me? You can see yes.
Yes.
So, Deepak, all good?
Yes.
So, hello guys. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. John Davis. I'm speaking from Jaipur. I'm the director of Institute of Pain and Paralysis Rehabilitation, which is an advanced physiotherapy clinic in Jaipur. So today in this webinar, I'm going to take a few techniques which are quite unusual. People practice, but not very many physiotherapists practice those techniques, especially when it comes for the back pain. So our major subject, or you can say my main motive of taking this topic on this webinar is to create an understanding regarding the low back pain, or as you can see, majorly this area. So when we talk about this area, we have the lumbar part, and then we have these sacroiliac joints. So the pain usually originates from this region, and we have so many techniques, so many modalities, so many treatment protocols to relieve this painful syndrome and then give relief to the patient. But the thing is, what we understand in orthopedic manual therapy, there is something very, you can say, opt or very promising. If you apply that after making a complete assessment and diagnosis of a patient, that is so far in my practice proven to be 100%, I'm quite sure. So guys, when we talk about this lumbar area, let me explain some basic things. As you all know, these are the vertebrae, and what happens when we have a disc bulge. So what majorly happens? We have the narrowing of the foramina, which is called intervertebral foramina, when this nerve emerges. Usually the nerve emerges is safe from the disc bulging in between these two vertebrae, but the nerve going from underneath or maybe going from downwards is the victim of this bulge. So if you talk about L4-5, then it is usually the L5 nerve root which is compressed, not the L4. So this is the basic understanding. Why this is important? So that you check for the myotome, you check for the dermatome of the L5 nerve root, and you make a conclusion that there is some problem. There are so many diagnostic, we can say, assessment examinations, so many things are there we perform, like local site pressure application, tenderness, and then there will be some kind of neurological deep reflexes test, neurological test. But majorly, if you understand the myotome and dermatome very well, and then if you examine and then you get a conclusion that what kind of disc can be, the thing becomes very easy for you. So that you understand, we have to work on this thing. Let's take L4-5 for today for the techniques I'm going to explain to you. And then secondly, what mainly we have in our hands on a human body, where we can apply some kind of pressure, some kind of, you can say, technique, some kind of rotation, some kind of glide, whatever you need to say, whatever you wish to say, is basically this area, posterolateral. So we can go from the spinous process, we can go from the lateral aspect of it, we can go from underneath of it. It depends where you want to apply pressure and what technique you are using for that. So I hope so far it's going easy. So before we begin our practical session, I would like to make you all understand that every patient coming with back pain is not a true patient of back pain. So sometimes we need to make a thorough assessment, and for that we need to ask few questions from the patient. We need to, you can say, interview the patient, and like we have our Academy of Manual Therapy, we have regular courses for these techniques. So what I usually emphasize upon is this form. This is important. This is very important. This is called Musculoskeletal Clinical Translation Framework. So when you ask these questions from the patient and you make a conclusion, you will be able to understand whether this patient is actually a patient of lumbago or compressive radiculopathy or not. many times the patient is having functional pain. When we say functional pain, it is the pain which is due to the central nervous system sensitization. The patient is feeling the pain, but maybe it's not there. It's not there. So if you experiment on such patient, it will be a waste of time. And there are certainly, I think, a good percentage of these kind of functional patients coming to our clinic. So guys, this has to be filled up by every therapist, or you can just see a few points what I ask from my patient. Like if we see the interview, I'll take a few minutes to explain how do we take this interview from the patient. So this is my patient, Mr. Shankar, suffering with low back pain. I'll take a short interview with him. Shankar sir, good evening.
गुड इवनिंग।
कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक।
So आपका जो दर्द है ये कितने समय से है आपको?
सर पिछले 10-15 दिन से है। पहले हल्का फुल्का होता था।
पहले हल्का फुल्का होता था, 10-15 दिन से आप इससे परेशान हो रहे हैं
जी।
और पहले कितना पहले से?
पहले तो सर करीब 5-6 महीने से ज़्यादा हो चुके हैं इससे।
5-6 महीने से, लेकिन इतना सीवियर अभी 10-15 दिन से हो रहा है।
जी।
So what the patient need to say, it is more than 5 to 6 months, so you can put the patient in chronic category, but the symptoms are in absolutely acute category because it is less than 3 weeks. So what I believe that since the patient has come to the clinic because of his symptoms, we should consider this patient suffering with acute lumbar problem and not the history he is given. If we get into the chronic thing, it will be difficult to judge the patient, to apply right kind of technique for the patient. So I personally feel this is an acute lumbago patient has come to my clinic. Let's go on the next question. So कब आपको पेन होता है? सोने में, बैठने में, चलने में?
जैसे थोड़ा करवट लेटता हूँ तो उसमें हल्का फुल्का पेन आता है। एकदम सडनली थोड़ा सा आगे झुक के उठने में।
खड़े होके बताएंगे कहाँ पेन आता है? करवट लेने में?
यहाँ उठने पे यहाँ से पेन है।
खड़े होइए एक बार, उधर दिखाएं प्लीज।
यहाँ
क्या रहे हैं?
यहाँ पेन आता है।
यहाँ पेन आता है। ठीक है, बैठो। So now the patient has somehow pointed on his left SI joint, and the patient is saying कि मुझे करवट लेने में प्रॉब्लम होती है, means turning is difficult. Turning is somehow related to SI joint problem. The patient feels difficult to get out or in the car and maybe turn on the bed. So I think it's relevant. So what this interview makes me feel that the patient is not talking vague. The patient is actually talking about his pain, and I can relate his what he is telling me, his signs or what he experiences regarding the pain, with my conclusion that it may be a SI joint problem, since he is telling, and then the site he is pointing on is relevant to each other. So this is another important part. Sometimes the patient says, so it is called a specific symptom or maybe the specific sign. Second thing is non-specific. If the patient says कि I have pain all the time, 24 hours, late maybe, sone maybe, then you consider it's a non-specific problem. If the patient says कि my leg goes completely numb, sometime I cannot, and if you make the patient walk and he limps, or maybe he's unable to stand, it's too severe, then I think it's considered a red flag. You must take opinion from other consultants like orthopedician, or maybe we need an investigative procedure, MRI or X or something like that, before we proceed for arm therapy. So this is important, talking to the patient regarding what he experienced. Now the next thing is, what is the pattern the patient has adopted? This is very important. There are very many points, but then the other points are quite cognitive points. His belief, his knowledge, his self-efficacy, his social environment, what people are telling him, what kind of problem is it, and maybe his lifestyle. Does he smoke? Does he sleep less? Does he have good nutrition? His workplace factor. Is he working in some kind of weightlifting procedures he's performing in a day-to-day work life or not? But that is another issue that I will not go into that depth. Another main point is the pattern. The pattern which the patient adopts is very important to see. Like let's say this patient is having pain on the left SI joint. So what I suspect, when the patient should get up, he should not get up with the ease. He might be little conscious and then get up gently. So this is an adaptive pattern for a patient who's suffering with this SI joint pain for only 10-15 days. So it makes sense. So this adaptive pattern is somehow helping him. एक बार उठिए जरा, हाथ बाहर के अंदर. Yeah, sit down, please. So, if the patient is in acute phase and using such kind of adaptive pattern, it is considered a helpful pattern. So, I will not say don't do this. I will say okay, fine. When you want to get up, you want some support, use it. Like if we talk about lumbosacral belt, so maybe that belt is important in such patient who you think adaptive pattern is okay. Now, for example, this patient who has SI joint pain according to me, and we know very well that in SI joint pain, there is no need to limp, there is no need to flex and walk, but somehow the patient flex and walk. See this, how does the patient tell? I'll tell him and he'll act for you. This is adaptive. For a SI joint patient for 10-15 days, it is normal. So we tell this is adaptive. You can do this when you get up. It is helpful for your recovery. But now what he will be doing next is maladaptive, which is wrong. And I, being a physio for this patient, will immediately ask him not to do that. आप थोड़ा झुक के चलें. चलिए walk करें. See carefully. So the patient is walking. He's bending. Relax. आप खड़े होने के बाद हाथ हटाएं, कोशिश करें सीधा और चलें. प्रैक्टिस करिए. शाबाश, वेल डन. प्लीज कम बैक. आ जाइए. Sit. So guys, the patient walking with flex posture, and we somehow think it's a SI joint problem. I think flex posture is not necessary. It might have given him relief in some point of time. कभी उसको इससे आराम आया होगा. लेकिन अगर कोई इस पैटर्न को अडॉप्ट कर लेते हैं तो वो इनकी रिकवरी में हमें डिफिकल्टी देंगे. We will not be able to treat this patient faster, or we will not be able to give him good relief with our techniques what we will be planning now. So सबसे पहले हमें ये maladaptive pattern को इनकी आदत से निकालना होगा. We have to tell him walk straight or take rest. Then जो अडेप्टिव पैटर्न है उसके लिए हमें इनको गाइड करना होगा कि आप जब भी उठें सपोर्ट लेके उठें, ताकि अगर हम कुछ अलाइनमेंट्स कर रहे हैं या हमने इलेक्ट्रोथेरेपी से इनकी मसल स्पैज़म को कम किया है, वेट बेयरिंग पोजीशन ट्रांसफर्स में वो वापस ना आ जाए. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट अडेप्टिव एंड maladaptive pattern. So I hope you guys understand this. So this is important. So when you fill this gives you an idea what kind of patient is it, what kind of treatment I can plan for the patient. Is he a right patient for me? Is he a right patient for my techniques? Every patient is not for your techniques, and every technique is not for all the patients. So try to understand. Now let's come on to the practical. So what I basically feel that in the time of this 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it will be a difficult task for you to understand as well as for me to explain so many techniques. So I have chosen a few techniques which I feel is good in practice, and we talk about radicular pain due to the back problem and the list due to the back problem and SI joint dysfunction. So first of all, we talk about the list. As you all understand what is list. The list is basically, supposedly this patient has, please, this patient has some problem in his L4, L5 segment. So on the left side, but this patient does not complain of any kind of radicular pain. There is no radicular pain. There is a discomfort over here, tenderness, but his main problem is his alignment. The patient comes in slightly flexed and right sided distant posture this way. So just walk like this, Shankar sir, please show them. So watch it. See how the patient walks. He has normal speed. So this is the problem. This is the list, carry on. This is the list. This is the lateral alignment disturbance, and this is the sagittal alignment disturbance, as well as a mild rotation. And now if you tell this patient, see, you can see very well, normal. This patient has pain in left side, not radicular pain, पैरों में नहीं जा रहा है, पेन सिर्फ एक कमर के निचले हिस्से में है, कुछ हद तक बटक्स में है, बट इस पेन के कारण इनका जो अलाइनमेंट है, his alignment is disturbed. If we talk about the frontal alignment, he's gone away from the pain, means towards the right side. And if we talk about the sagittal alignment, which you can see easy ऐसे घूमो पूरा घूमो पूरा पैरों से, हाँ, so यहाँ से हो जाएगा. If we talk about the sagittal alignment, he is into flexion. He is into flexion and some kind of rotation. If we talk about transverse alignment, some kind of right side rotation. So guys, if we talk about list of a patient having L4-5 pathology on the left side and the problem is list, usually we have seen in the patient the list is away from the pain, it will be on the right side. It is away from the pain, it will be on the flexion side. It will be away from the pain, it will be right sided, mildly rotated. So this is what we usually see. Now the thing is, how do we correct it? First of all, when we need to correct it, we have to follow a few steps. The first step is, first of all, we correct the lateral alignment. We intend to bring the patient into normal side flexion and we intend to promote left sided flexion. So how do we do that? We have 1 and 2 steps to do that. The first step is, we ask the patient to bring his hand on this side. So you can please very good. Have a good base of support. You use the shoulder over here. Block his arm and then keep your hand on his pelvis, or just glide the pelvis gently. Very easy, very easy. While performing this, if the patient says, I'm experiencing more pain, forget about the sagittal alignment. You can ask the patient to flex more or jhuk jaiye aap, and then you can perform the same. This is step 1, which we perform to correct the lateral alignment. The second step, patient will come here, आप इधर आए और इस पे करवट में लेटिए. The left side will be on top. The left side will be on top, and we intend to keep the patient again in lumbar flexion. The same way, we wanted left side flexion. We want the same thing here. It's very easy. This is already blocked with the couch. So this is replacing your arm. Now the only thing you need to push the pelvis cephalic towards the head. We perform this glide easily, say around 10 to 15 times, and we design 2 to 3 sets depending on the tolerance of the patient, size of the patient, age of the patient, gender of the patient. So this all should be taken into consideration. This will not happen in a day, but yes, if you perform it, say first day, third day, fifth day, probably what I have seen in my practice, third to fifth day, the patient's lateral alignment is Very nice. He is almost straight, but in sagittal, he is still flexed. So now next step is, I will try to correct his sagittal. My intention is to bring the patient from flexion to extension. So once the lateral alignment is okay, I will go for the technique. Third, I will ask the patient to go on his stomach, prone. उल्टा लेटे हैं आप. Just keep your hand. I will see the prone line should not be difficult. Face आ रहा है सबका. The prone line should not be difficult for the patient. And before performing this technique, I will ask the patient to come gently up, say a bit of extension. हल्का सा उठे, हल्का सा. Pain तो नहीं है, easy. It's only within the pain-free range. It should not be painful. So now we are working on his extension, but meanwhile we have to maintain the lateral flexion. So what we need to do, we have to come on the right side, which side the patient was shifted. We need to block from here, and this is parallel to each other. Not this, not this. This should not be diagonal. This should be parallel and very gentle. You are blocking him from here. Go to the level of the patient and then parallel. Just maintain the pressure. Ask the patient to do the extension. Okay, upper. Yes, up, more, down. 5 times. Come on. Little more. Down. Again. Little more. Down. Again. More. Down. This is how you work on the extension of the patient. Once you achieve the extension, you will not ask the patient to take a turn and get off. You will ask the patient to come in a quadruped pose. घोड़ा बनिए. पहले इस पैर को नीचे, इसको नीचे जमीन पे. हाँ, अब धीरे धीरे उतर जाइए. And come there. If you ask the patient to get up this way, you are not disturbing what you have done. Your technique is sustained. The extension will remain, whatever you have got. Please come there. That's it. Now you can see the patient walks. पहले से थोड़ा सा better, हल्का सा flexion, लेकिन ये ठीक है. Just walk 2-3 rounds. Take this video. Right. So now we will work upon the rotation. We have worked on the lateral alignment, that is done. We have worked upon the sagittal alignment, that is also fairly done. Now we work upon the rotation alignment. The patient's body is irrelevant. The rotation is absolutely irrelevant. It can be this way, it can be that way, but we have a concept. In lumbar spine, if we are promoting the combination, we can find out which side rotation will be helpful for him. Do understand this? What we are promoting is left side flexion and extension, isn't it? Because what he had was right sided flexion and flexion. We want to correct this. So what we intend is left sided flexion and extension. So there is a theory in biomechanics or in manual therapy what we believe, that there is a coupling of rotation and lateral flexion. In the spine, in the lumbar spine, lateral flexion cannot take place alone. It is coupled with the rotation. Now which direction the rotation has to be, it depends on what movement the flexion is coming with. If the left side flexion is coming with extension, the rotation will be contralateral. It means this rotation will be good for his alignment. I'll repeat once more. In the spine, lateral flexion is always coupled with rotation. Either it is this, which is contralateral because I am going on right lateral flexion, but I am going on left. This is called contralateral rotation. Or it may be this, right lateral flexion and right rotation. This is called ipsilateral. Now, how do you judge or how do you design what kind of rotation you have to promote in this kind of pathology? So it depends what kind of combination of lateral flexion or flexion or extension you want. In this particular case, what we want is left side flexion and extension. So when the lateral flexion is with extension, the rotation is contralateral. Means if he goes left side flexion with extension, the rotation what we may promote or what we should promote is right sided rotation. Clear? So now there are two steps to correct this rotation glide. We will ask the patient again to lie down the same way. ऐसे करके उल्टा लेटे हैं आप. You were all good?
Yes, sir.
It makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Easy, not tough?
No, sir.
Good. So the patient is into prone line and now now we think that the lateral alignment is fine. He's okay. He's not shifting on the right side. The sagittal alignment is also okay. So this is a good combination. So now we want to work on the rotation. Since I said we want to rotate on the right side, and the problem is of just a moment. The problem is of L45. So this is L45. What we mean, if we want to rotate right side, we want to push the L4 and we want to stabilize the L5 this way. If you can see, this is L4, this is L5. L5 is you can use the surface area of the pelvis. So if we stabilize the L5 and if we rotate the L4, we may create some sort of right-sided rotation. Clear? So how do we do that? This is to stabilize the L5, and usually at the level of ASIS we have L4-5 disc space. So you can, I usually do this way, the dip is L5 and then this is L4. So I keep this hand on the transverse process of L4 and I stabilize along with the pelvis the L5. I ask the patient to extend when I give the glide and I give the rotation glide towards the right. This is L4 rotating right side on L5 and I ask the patient to gently extend. Up or down. Do for 3 times. Down. Again. Down. This is how we do rotation, correction while performing extension. The lateral alignment is already fine. This is the fourth step. The last step of this correction is in the standing, the same technique. Every time the patient gets up, teach him how to get up. पहले वो पैर रखेंगे नीचे. Yes. So that he doesn't disturb his lateral alignment. Now the patient is fairly good. Walk very 90% सीधे. Fairly good. So the last step comes now. Now, in the last step, I will ask the patient to do what was very painful for him. What? Left flexion and extension. Which by now is already comfortable, very easy than what it used to be earlier. But now I have to go for the last step. So the same thing, palpate the L4 transverse process and then stabilize the pelvis. Go for the rotational leg, ask the patient to do the same. Yes, straight. सीधा होइए, सीधा होइए, थोड़ा सा लेफ्ट साइड जाके पीछे, थोड़ा फास्ट, यस, डाउन, न्यूट्रल, वापस आइए, अगेन, गुड, न्यूट्रल, वापस आइए, डन. So these are the steps we follow to correct the list coming from L4-5 pathology. Important point, the patient has no radiculopathy. Alright? If the patient has radiculopathy, this technique, these 5 steps should be performed, but after he has this symptoms at ease. अगर उनको पैरों में झंझनाहट, सुनापन, खिंचाव, साइटिका है, तो हम ये पांचों स्टेप एकदम से नहीं शुरू करेंगे. हम पहले उस साइटिका के दर्द को कम करेंगे एंड देन बाद में लिस्ट करेक्शन करेंगे. बट अगर पेशेंट को पैरों में किसी तरह का तनाव सिम्टम नहीं है और सिर्फ इस तरह का टेढ़ापन है, हम इमीडिएटली राइट फ्रॉम डे 1 ये टेक्निक्स अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. क्लियर? सो दिस इज हाउ वी करेक्ट द लिस्ट. आफ्टर द लिस्ट करेक्शन हाउ द पेशेंट वॉक्स. बिल्कुल नॉर्मल वॉक करेक्शन कर सकते हैं. तेज दो भाई, नॉर्मल हो गया, बिल्कुल नॉर्मल, फास्ट. Walking helps in maintaining the normal alignment. So once you have corrected the list, or maybe after a few days of treatment, the patient is having less pain, ask them to go for a walk. So this was the first technique, guys. The next thing is, please come here. Sit. So this was about list correction, and now next, another thing we have. There is a term called compressive radiculopathy. What is that? When we have the disc typically pressing the nerve root and the patient is experiencing pain down in his leg, maybe right or left, whatever, then we say it's a case of compressive radiculopathy. But we don't confirm it by means of just seeing the report of MRI or just listening to the symptoms of the patient. We have typical testing for the compressive radicular problems coming from lumbar spine, probably the disc. So you have to test, and this test involves two important components. First is active movement, second is combined movement. Now if we just general lumbar movement, flexion, extension, side flexion, rotation, and then the combination comes. So we make sure the problem is coming from lumbar spine. How do we do that? This is a patient. शंकर सर, आपके कौन से पैर में दर्द? Left में चल रहा है. Now in this case, the patient is telling me the pain is coming down the leg. आपको ये पेन चलने में होता है?
कभी कभी चलने में एकदम से झंझनाहट सी फील होती है, तो पैर लगता है कि एकदम से पैर पकड़ लिया है.
So if we talk to the patient and if we are thinking it's a pure compressive radiculopathy, this is something I'm expecting from my patient to tell me. When he walks, जब वो चलते हैं तो थोड़ा 10 कदम, 20 कदम, 50 कदम के बाद में उनके पैरों में तरंग चलती है, पैर भारी हो जाता है, पिंडियाँ इतनी टाइट होती है कि उनको बैठना पड़ता है. After he sit for some time, थोड़ी देर बैठने के बाद में he is again fine. So ये हुआ मेरा assessment, that interview. उससे मुझे लगा कि इनका ये symptom specific है. When I think ये specific बता रहा है, तो I test. Now I will go for my physical examination. Stand please. से खड़े होंगे आप. Now the patient tells me, so this is a different case. Just wipe out what I just showed you according for the list and L4-5 local pathology. Now the second thing is typical PIVD. We are talking about this problem. In this model it's on right, but we are talking on the left. So the patient is having L4-5 disc bulge and he is having typically neural compression. We have done the myotome, we have done it for L5, EHL we have tested, it is weak, SLR is somehow less than 60 degrees. So those basic examination we have done, which do not have much relevance with when we apply the technique and when we design something for manual. What is relevant is the primary movement. So first of all, we check which movement is very painful for him. Since this will not be very painful, it will be rather easy. इसमें आपको आराम आता है? हाँ. Okay. This away from the pain would also be easy. इसमें भी आपको आराम आता है? हाँ. Yes. Now in compressive radiculopathy, there are two movements, active movements, which will be very painful because it compresses the foramina more. इसमें आपको झंझनाहट आती है?
हाँ.
So extension aggravates the pain. इसमें आपको झंझनाहट आती है?
हाँ.
This also is painful. So there are two primary movements which are painful. Extension of the lumbar spine and same side flexion of the lumbar spine. The another thing we can find out is what is more painful. ज़्यादा पेन कौन से मूवमेंट में है? इसमें या इसमें? पहले वाले में?
हाँ.
Okay, fine. Extension is more painful. So now we have the patient with the radicular pain. We have tested him regarding the myotome, regarding the dermatome, regarding symptomatic assessment and manual therapy, physical examination by applying the primary movements. There is also a local tenderness. But to be honest, if we are treating a patient with disc, local tenderness doesn't matter. Sometimes patients have tenderness, sometimes they do not have tenderness, sometimes they say there is nothing over here, just over here. So what matters is this combination. This is very important combination. So the patient says extension and same side flexion is painful, and I consider this patient in severe pain. So what happens when the patient is in severe pain? I'm just talking about one condition, severe pain. People who know about SIN concept may understand why I'm talking this way. There are three concepts: high SIN, mid, moderate SIN, and low SIN. So we are talking about high SIN. For people who do not understand SIN concept, just think one. This is the patient with severe pain. Nothing can be worse than this what he's having at this point of time. So we want to design something for this kind of patient who's in severe pain. So what is his easing movement? The most painful movement was extension. So first of all, we have to keep the patient in flexion. The second painful movement was left-sided flexion. So we have to keep the patient in right-sided flexion. This will be the easing posture for the patient. So we have to design technique in the same posture when the patient is in a very severe pain. Listen to me again. When the patient is in severe pain, we go just opposite the painful movements. So first and foremost, the most painful movement was extension. So we asked the patient to go into flexion. The second painful movement was left side flexion. We asked the patient to go right side. Now this is how we have to make the patient lie down on the bed. Are you please? So in case you have a manual therapy bed, just ulta लेते हैं please. इधर आया. उल्टा लेते हैं. Because of cross pass. So guys, do remember this is the same patient. Left leg radiculopathy. Extension was very painful. So first of all, I have put him into flexion. थोड़ा आगे सरकिए. और आगे. Line के नीचे. हाँ ये. So now he's fairly into lumbar flexion. The second painful movement was ipsilateral flexion, means left side. I will ask the patient to go on the right side. तो थोड़ा सा ऊपर से उधर जाइए. थोड़ा बस. Painful नहीं है, easy. This posture should not be painful for the patient. Now, what pathology I am thinking or I have examined and what is my diagnosis? My diagnosis is L4, L5 radiculopathy. I have no option. There is only L4 and L5 in this model, so I have to tell you that only. So now, when we treat L4, L5, we promote foraminal opening. We promote foraminal opening by promoting the flexion of L4. So what we do, taking the patient into pain easing posture, then just palpating L4 and very gently cephalic glide on L4. Do not give straight. See the curve of the spine and easy. Right. There are so many ways to perform this. Some perform this, some perform this. It is mainly this. Your palpation should be important. And then this is one technique to treat the patient with radiculopathy with severe pain. The condition is high SIN. Alright, this is the first thing. Please come, Shankar sir. Thank you. Now, that was most easy technique you can begin with while you are treating the patient with severe radicular pain, and you know that extension and same side flexion is very painful. So my last topic is how do we mobilize, or how do we, you can say, apply the manual force on SI joint. People with SI joint dysfunction usually have pain this area. 90% of patients who have SI joint dysfunction has buttock pain, groin pain. A few of them have pain till the knee, but it's proximal to the knee. So these are three major, you can say, symptoms the patient tells us. It is usually buttock pain, groin pain, and radiation proximal to the knee joint. Now, if the patient says, I have buttock pain, and you want to see whether it is SI joint, whether it is piriformis, check for the flexibility of both the piriformis. It will be almost equal. How do we do that? Right here, sir. Make the face करें, थोड़ा पीछे लीजिए. Now this patient has, say, in the right side, he has right side pain, and he says most of my pain is in my buttocks. I'm taking a turn, it's painful. I'm getting off the bed, it's painful. Sitting for a long time and getting up is painful. Walking is easy for me. Even if it's a piriformis syndrome, some say piriformis, I say piriformis. Even if it's a piriformis syndrome, if you walk, any muscle will be warmed up, so walking will be easy even for piriformis syndrome. So the symptoms are confusing. It may be piriformis syndrome. If it is a piriformis syndrome and you apply manual therapy, I think you may aggravate the problem. So, and secondly, if you do a lot of stretching, thinking it's a piriformis syndrome, and if it's a SI joint dysfunction, then a lot of stretching will again be problematic. So first of all, we have to make a differential diagnosis, because both the problems having the main symptom, which is buttocks pain. So I will see how is his piriformis. इस पैर को इस पे रखेंगे ना, फिगर ऑफ 4 बनाएंगे, घुटना नीचे, लीड के वीडियो पूरा लंबा करिए और छाती निकाल के आगे बढ़िए. शाबाश, थोड़ा और, थोड़ा और, थोड़ा और. So when we ask the patient to perform this test, आपको इस बटक में स्ट्रेच आ रहा है? हाँ. आप एक्सपीरियंस करिए कितना स्ट्रेच आ रहा है. This is the non-painful leg. This is unaffected, normal leg. Relax. So we have asked the patient to experience his stretch. How much stretch does he have in his normal piriformis, and we can compare. Typically, this position is again difficult in both the problems. But one thing is very important, which I would like you to understand, which I have done a lot in a lot many patients, is a practical thing. सीधा करें इस पैर को, इसको इस पर. Right. So now, when we straighten this leg and we put this leg on this, if it's a piriformis syndrome, this will be not painful. If it's a SI joint syndrome, this will be little painful, but the patient will be able to keep it. Now, we gently ask the patient to, उसको मोड़िए, इसको ऊपर लगे, इसको मोड़िए. In the patient with SI joint dysfunction, this is stuck. It's very painful, very, very painful. This position is very painful. But on the contrary, if it's a piriformis syndrome, we started the stretching here, and then we gradually come in here. So it relaxes the muscle gradually. So for the patient with pure piriformis, this will not be that difficult. So this is one thing. If he's having severe SI joint dysfunction, he will not be able to put his name on this, and there you can make your final diagnosis of the SI joint. But if he keeps it here, then it is again two conditions. It's a piriformis as well as mild or maybe moderate SI joint dysfunction. It's painful, but he can somehow take it. Now we test the same piriformis, which is the painful side. वापस से फिगर ऑफ फॉर्म बनाइए, इसको मोड़ना अच्छे से, इसको नीचे करिए, इमीडिएटली ऐसे करें और छाती निकाल के आगे बढ़ें. Yes. Now the patient can give me two answer. क्या इसका स्ट्रेच इसके बराबर लग रहा है?
ज़्यादा है थोड़ा.
Okay. The first answer can be this stretch is too much more than the normal one. दूसरा जवाब ये हो सकता है बराबर. Clear? Yeah. Relax there. So depending on these two, you can say responses, we design how to begin the treatment. If the stretch is too much, then the normal one, I would like to release the muscle. My patient will be fine 90% or maybe 100%. If he's not, first I will begin with the release of the muscle, then I will jump on the SI joint. But if the patient says the pain, the stretch is almost equal, it's not that I can't differentiate, then I will begin from the SI joint. So I will avoid unnecessary knee to chest stretching, unnecessary piriformis stretching, unnecessary hamstring stretching, camel pose. Avoid. I will go into other extension exercises. But if it is piriformis, if the stretch is too much, yes, I will begin with stretching first. Gentle knee to chest, gentle piriformis stretch, gentle calf and gentle hamstring stretch, rather than going for lumbar extension. This is important when you are making the perfect assessment. So now let's jump on the technique. So my assessment is like this patient has said that the stretch on the both sides is equal. There is no problem in the stretch. I have problem while changing my spine position, and I also saw it was difficult for him to keep this leg on this. So my conclusion in this patient is that this patient is of SI joint. So if the patient is of purely SI joint dysfunction, how do we release that? I will teach you that. It's on the right side, right?
Yeah.
So the patient has pain over here. Ask the patient to lie down in a side-lying position facing the other side. उस side face करिए, right on top. So now this is his right side. The painful joint you can locate easily. This thing will come up. Why the changing of the position is painful? Because SI joint has very less kind of mobility, but the less kind of mobility is also important when you are changing your position. Like when you are sitting down and getting up, you are pulling your pants or trousers up, you're changing, you are turning. So this less mobility also has to contribute. And if it doesn't contribute, then this less mobility can give you a big trouble in your back, in your buttock, in your leg. Clear? So what we need to do is we mobilize with movement. We have to ask the patient to keep his spine. We usually perform this the technique in the relaxing position of the spine, lumbar spine, which is lordosis. If we take him into too much of extension, where I have seen some, if we take him in too much of extension, it is closed back position. So this I personally feel is not very comfortable, though some good senior, good friends of mine perform like this, and results are again awesome in that case also. But here I would like to experience or share. I would like to share my experiences with you, what I personally experienced. So what I have experienced is, if you keep the patient is just gentle lordosis, that's it. That's it. So the normal lordosis is maintained. Ask the patient. जब मैं आपको बोलूँगा तो आप इस पैर को मोड़ेंगे और सीधा करेंगे, ऐसे ही लेटेंगे. This is how we place the patient in this position. We place him so that we can do the mobilization of SI joint. So now, what do I do? There are two components I have to work upon. One is this ilium bone, which I can pressurize from ASIS. My direction would be posteromedial. This posteromedial. Alright? So, can you bring it a little close? Because from here. So, I will pressurize from here, and my direction would be posteromedial. So that would be one hand placement. The other one would be on this sacrum bone, and my direction would be anterolateral. This posteromedial, this anterolateral. This is how I am giving the plank. My forces are parallel, but the direction is little this way, maybe around 30 degrees. Now, how do we do it? So, already stand up, please stand up. So this is sacrum. I need to go anterolateral, this anterolateral, and this hand ASIS I need to go posteromedial. So this is the glide. I will sustain. Ask the patient to move. Yes, move. Yes. नहीं नीचे एक साइड करिए. Yes. Very good. Yes. Relax. So guys, once again I will tell you about the direction. This sacrum, this patient is like this. I am pushing it anteriorly and laterally outside, while the ilium bone I am pushing posteriorly and medially inside. So see once again, place it on sacrum and ilium. Ilium is posteromedial and this is anterolateral. Yes, and ask the patient to move. Move around 8 to 10 times. Yes, that's it. When you have done the mobilization and patient says there was not much pain, what I usually do, I give a gentle check on his L5, because many times, not sometimes, when patient is having sacroiliac joint problem, he is suffering with sacralization also. L5 external sacralization. So what I intend, I just gently try to break it. So there is no need to give it over pressure with the rotation. Just push the pelvis and rotate. Click. Many times when you have performed the SI joint and just stabilize the L5 and rotate the patient posteriorly, the patient can feel a click, which is again easing the sacralization of L5. So this is about SI joint. Please, Shankar, thank you. So guys, this was all about my general techniques. So I hope you understood how to correct the list and how we have to understand the pattern of radicular pain, what movements would be painful, what movement would be easing if the patient is in too much of pain. Then we perform our technique keeping in mind that his position should be in the pain easing movements. And then when it comes to SI joint, I try to make sure it's not something else like piriformis syndrome or something else, and then perform the SI joint glide and exercise, very well which exercises to design. So this is all about my webinar. I hope you liked it, you learned at least something out of it. So hope to see you guys soon again, and I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Team Real Life who organized this webinar and my colleagues, Mr. Shankar, and let me show you, please give me the phone. And this is Dr. Deepak. So be safe, take care, you be safe, keep your patients safe. All the best to each one of you. Take care.